hand in hand with us. And again, that's what we're very happy to be completely open book with people if there's some longevity in the relationship. And I don't know if there's any contractors in the room, but again, we're very flexible. So one of the benefits Timpson's get with this is we do the boxes. Their own fit-out contractor comes here and does the fit-out. So we allow them to come into our factory, and rather than going around the country doing one at a time, they can come here and fit 5 out at a time. So it could be the same if you have particular kitchen fitters on your supply chain. There's no reason they can't come here and do 10 houses at once. There's lots of things we can do. Custodial sector, I don't know if any of you have seen the inside of them. I won't ask you. The only reason I put this up really is it shows robustness and innovation. We had to go through all the rigorous Ministry of Justice testing procedures to get to Category B compliance. So these units are actually very large modules with 6 complete cells in one module. We also design all these walkways as pre-manufactured so they can be installed on site, and all these roofing systems are pre-manufactured. So the whole 120 cell block could be erected in 3 weeks on site, and then there's a fit-out period, finishing period in the central atrium area. So it's an extremely efficient and innovative design. Eugene touched briefly on the hire division. Just to cover it, our bag really is inner city, ideally, where there's a complex site, and we'll work with you to give you the best solution for your welfare needs. This is a great example. This is in London at the moment, which we're doing for, what we've done for Sir Robert McAlpine for De Vere Gardens. So they've got a huge build that's there for 2 years, and we've set up the gantry system and the high quality accommodation for their welfare for the 2 years while they're there. They'll then come back to our depot and be refurbished to go somewhere else. Okay, housing itself. So Darren can talk through the products, but very much our factories are really focused as being as flexible as we can make them. Because you can imagine this is a picture of a student accommodation unit being constructed. The next unit going down may well be a part of a school. So we've got to be able to flex from one product to another without stopping the factories. So we have a very flexible system based around the premise of lean manufacturing. So we try to buy cut to size wherever possible. Don't always achieve it, but that's the intention. We try not to have waste. We try to bring goods in as we need them for use, so we're just in time. So we're trying all the time to drive waste out of it and keep the cost down, and therefore the price we're selling at. So everything's in a flow line. You'll see everything moving through the factories. As you go around today, you'll see student accommodation units being built in one factory. You'll see some new build hire units being built, which will go in for offices, and you'll see some Timpson units. And we're currently producing 8 a day this week. So just to talk more about housing. Now Darren will talk about the product in detail soon. Everything we do, we try to operate around lean production techniques. So we're certainly not perfect. We've got a very flexible facility. There's 2 schools of thought in off-site manufacture. You can either fully automate, and there's been 1 or 2 examples of that haven't survived the time, or you can go down another route and be able to operate any product flexibly. And what we intend to do is, if we're building a student room, which these are today, we want to be able to start a school tomorrow without disrupting the factory. So our whole premise is around flexible manufacturing. Everything moves through the factory, as you'll see. Everything moves at set prescribed times through the day. There's a bit of a heartbeat to everything we do. You can imagine we have huge advantages on quality. 1, everything's done under a roof, so it speaks for itself. But secondly, as you'll see as you go around, all the different tradesmen and operators are responsible for the quality of what they produce, and they sign for it. As it moves through the process, it's then checked off by the supervisor and by the people receiving the work. So you've got sort of a triple check, as it were, of everything that's happening. And nothing leaves that factory roof until it's watertight. So you should be able to hold extremely good quality and good record and traceability of what's happened as well. From a safety point of view, I think we have 1 operation only in the factory that's done at height, and that's done in harnessed. Everything else is done at low level. So all our roofs are built at low level, our ceilings are produced at low level. So you can imagine if 80% of the work is done off-site here in the factory, our safety record is extremely good. And I put here high repeatability, and the reason for that is it may not be that the individual project is repeatable, but our repeatability comes in the scale of what we do year on year on year. To me, it's repeatable if you've got a house to a school to a hospital, because at least 50% of it is from a common platform. And that's where we get our strength and focus. You'll see this as you go around today. Obviously, the other part of our role is the site construction. And there's a lot of businesses are either very good at manufacturing or very good at construction. So we realised many years ago that the focus we had to have was about having both the skill sets. So our manufacturing teams come from a predominantly manufacturing background, and our site teams come from a traditional construction background, and it's that blend of those skills that makes us successful. We're not perfect, but obviously by putting the effort into that area, it's where it dovetails together and does well. Safety for us is key. In fact, we recently won a global award from Lend-Lease for this device here, which is our new lifting frame for working at heights, and it went all around their global organisation. What I've got for you now is a short video of a time lapse of that building there going in. This is, the RAF Coningsby in Lincolnshire. It's military accommodation, and we've got about 200 rooms there. And I just think it only takes 2 or 3 minutes, and it gives you a nice overview of what happens on site. So if you just bear with me. I will apologise now for the music. So I think what you've got to get your mind around here is this is the start on site, and at the same time, concurrently, we're starting manufacture here. So we're hitting the 200 units here, completely finishing them, decorating, fitting furniture, and having them ready for install. I think the other thing to note, if you typical construction site, you can look at the amount of activity and the amount of people working on the site, and then you'll see a graphic change once the modules start to come in. So this is the start of the installation, and you can see the activity elsewhere on site just dwindling away, and an awful lot less people, because 80% of that work is already finished. To give you an idea of the tolerance we work to, we've completed an 8-storey apartment building that was within 5mm tolerance corner to corner, top to bottom. Now these units are only manufactured to breather paper, because being an establishment on MOD establishment, it has to have a particular brick finish with a pitched roof on it. It can be a factory applied cladding, depending on what you select. So I hope it gives you a nice overview of what the install process is about. Okay, to talk briefly about the housing, we're currently in a position where we've built a demonstrator which you'll see today, and we're in contract for our first housing scheme. So it's a new venture for us. It's something we decided to do about 9 months ago. The house you'll see today we've built in the last month, so it's been a new venture for us. Put it together through the factory. Learnt a lot, to be fair, in that process. Point of this is just to show you can have any cladding you want in reality. We're producing a steel frame building within a factory that bolts together to make the final structure. We can hang anything you want on it. So whatever is the preferred option for the planners in that area, or from a cost point of view, we can do it. This list could be 3 times as long, really, but I think these are the key points that I wanted to bring across today. We know the cost of every stick that goes into one of our buildings, so you get absolute cost certainty of everything above ground. I think the last video demonstrated the programme reduction you get, but more important than that is probably the programme certainty. When we take a project on, we plan it into the factory, we have a date. That is the heartbeat of everything we do. It goes through on that date. So we always achieve programme. The quality will speak for itself today, I have no doubt, when you see the processes we follow. Very high quality products. Environmental benefits in 2 ways. Obviously there's an awful lot less site deliveries because the majority is coming in a small number of units. But secondly, we buy in wherever we can, cut to size. We buy in product that's environmentally correct. And we can produce a building that's fully sealed without any extra hassle. That something on site would actually be quite a challenge. So as a matter of course, we have fantastic air leakage rates because they don't, in essence. I'll put in local jobs and training for a reason. We can either do everything here, or to fit some models, we can actually just produce the shells here. And then obviously you can use your local supply chain to do some of the fit-out works, either here or on site. So to suit different models, we're very, very flexible in how we handle our production. And again, I think safety speaks for itself.